welcome back to another M&S tutoring video, and in this video we're going to be learning about the transformations of a base parabola. In our previous video we learned how to transform the steepness of the parabola by changing the shift step or the base step by a higher base value of a and a fraction base value of a. But in this video we're going to be learning how to shift the base parabola either up or down, specifically how many units using the vertex form general equation in the base parabola. First, we're going to be starting off with h. As you can see, h in the vertex form is inside a bracket with x, and what h does is it transforms the parabola either left or right. If h is negative in the equation, like it is right now, the parabola is translated to the right h units. So say for example, the equation was y is equal to 2x minus 4 squared plus k, right? I'm gonna keep k as a variable right now because we're not necessarily working with k right now. So if h was negative 4 in this equation, it would mean that the parabola was translated 4 units to the right. So the base of the parabola, the vertex of the parabola, where it starts, would be 4 units to the right of the origin, which is 0, 0. So this would be 4, right? And this is where the parabola would start. This is where the parabola would emerge, and it would get bigger and bigger until it reached an infinite point, right? So now what does k do to a parabola? Well, k, just like h, it shifts the parabola up or down. If k is positive, the parabola is translated up that many units. But if k is negative, the parabola is translated down the amount of units. So say for example I have the equation y is equal to, let's say again, 2x minus h. We're not really working with h right now, so I put it as a variable. So if I have y is equal to 2 factored x minus h squared plus, let's say, 3, right? The graph would be translated so and so units upward. So the graph would start about here, over here, right? And due to this, the graph would expand from that point on, right? That is known as the vertex of the parabola, as it's the point where the parabola is either at its highest or the lowest. Now that you know what h and k do, we can write what the changes have been brought to the base parabola. So say for example I have an equation that states y is equal to 2 factored x plus 4 squared minus 1, right? Now we can state what happened to this, what this equation really does to the base parabola to change it. Well, first off, we need to start by writing whether it was vertically stretched or vertically compressed. This basically means if the a value, which in this case the a value is 2, it basically means if the a value was a fraction, it would vertically compress it, and if a value was a number greater than 1, it would compress it, right? So we have to write it was vertically stretched by a factor of 2, right? So now that we have that, we need to write if it was reflected in the x-axis or not. What this basically means is it's asking if the a value made it so that the graph was flipped upside down. The parabola was flipped upside down. And this usually happens when a is negative, but in this case a was not negative. So we have to write it was not reflected in the x-axis, right? Just remember that all these little notes that we're making right here is in comparison to the base parabola, right? If the a value was negative, then basically the base parabola would be reflected in the x-axis because the a brought the parabola to be upside down compared to the base parabola, of course. So, and the last thing you have to write when justifying the transformation from the base parabola is how much it was translated. So in this case, it was translated 4 units left. Because remember, if h is positive, then it goes left that many units, and if h is negative, it goes right that many units. And this is h over here. What I write it be? It's an h over here, and this is k, right? And so this graph is translated 4 units to the left, and it is translated 1 unit down, right? This is the case because the vertex, which is basically the tip of the parabola, whether it's opening up or down, the highest point, or in some cases the lowest point of the parabola, is of course -4 and -1, right? As it was translated 4 units to the left from 0, which makes it -4, and 1 unit down from 0, the origin, which makes it -1. So that's basically it onto the transformations of a base parabola, whether it's going up or down or left or right. Now that you know the transformations of a base parabola, you can go on to exploring the different rules a parabola has to face in order to have the maximum vertex or the minimum vertex, and I'll be explaining to you that later on in my other videos. Other than that, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any comments or concerns, please feel free to leave it down in the comment section below.